Good morning, and thank you for joining us. We're here today to kick off our fall session, where New Democrats will keep delivering for Canadians. Because we know Ottawa should work for you and your family. In this parliament, Jagmeet Singh and our NDP team have used our power to get results for people, not for the super wealthy. Across the country, thousands of families got $1,300 for their kids' dental care. And people got almost $1,000 with 2 GST rebates. But we're not done, because Canadians need help now more than ever. We've all heard the stories from people in our communities. Canadians are working harder and harder, but they're falling further behind. Under Justin Trudeau, university students can't start their school year on the right foot because they can't find a place to live. Young workers can't save money for a down payment on their first home because the housing market has been built to serve the interests of wealthy developers, not real people. Seniors are terrified that they'll be rental evicted from their homes because the huge corporate landlords can make even more money. Under the Liberals and Conservative governments, deep-pocketed developers have been allowed to treat the housing market like a casino, where they can always cash in and make huge profits. We know that's wrong. Everyone has the right to a safe, affordable place to live.
That's right.
It's time for the government to recognize that the right to housing and stop treating housing like a commodity. People must come before profits. Trudeau promised to make things better, but time and again, he has disappointed Canadians. The cost of everything keeps rising, and he keeps acting like everything is fine. Just so that people keep having to work harder, and they're getting less. It shouldn't be this way. New Democrats believe you deserve better. Jagmeet has spent this summer touring the country, listening to the issues that keep Canadians up at night. And now he's back in Ottawa to fight for solutions that make life more affordable and win results. We have seen what's possible when New Democrats force Parliament to work for working people instead of the ultra-wealthy. We've proven that more New Democrats means more help for you and your family.
That's right.
Now it's my pleasure to introduce a leader who really knows and cares about Canadians and what they're going through. A fighter who's in politics to stack the deck for hard-working people instead of the rich and well-connected. Please welcome Jagmeet Singh.
Thank you, Jenny. Thanks, everybody. Yes. Merci, merci. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Merci, 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 Jenny. Thank you so much. And I got to say thank you for all the incredible work you've been doing on affordable homes and for people. I would definitely not want to be the Liberal housing minister knowing that Jenny Kwan was my critic. Friends, I've spent this summer hearing from Canadians. After 8 years of Justin Trudeau, life is harder. A home you can afford is out of reach. If you're renting, you're paying $2,000 every month or more. And if you're lucky enough to find somewhere you can afford, you live in fear that your landlord could throw you out, selling off your home to someone who just wants to make even more money. Partout au pays, les gens vivent les impacts de la crise du logement. Prix du loyer record, rénovation, manque de logement, pire marché immobilier du G7. C'est ça la vie sous Justin Trudeau. Et quand on lui demande ce qu'il va faire, il répond que ce n'est pas sa responsabilité. What is Justin Trudeau's answer to the housing crisis? He said that it isn't his job to fix it. It's up to the provinces or the cities. It sure seemed like his job during the election when he made a lot of promises. But now when it's time to act, it's not a priority. Because he's never known what it's like to worry about making the rent. It's scary that you don't know if you'll have a place you can afford to live in. When I was in my 20s, my younger brother had to come to live with me because my dad was struggling with an addiction and home just wasn't a good place. We had a lot of support and a lot of help from friends and my mom. But then one day my mom called and said that dad was getting really, really bad and he wasn't able to work anymore. We weren't going to get any support and we might even lose the home. I remember panicking and going out and getting a bunch of jobs to try to keep a roof over our head and keep food on the table for me and my brother. I stocked shoes at a mall so I could support the family. Those are tough times. We were worried about losing our home and I was worried about feeding my kid brother. If we had to find an extra $2,000 a month to rent a place to live, I don't know what we would have done. And if you have a mortgage, you watch every month as interest rates go up, knowing that there might come a day when you just can't pay the bills anymore. It doesn't have to be this way. It shouldn't be this way. For decades, Liberal and Conservative governments have made choices. They've chosen not to build homes that Canadians can afford. These governments chose instead to let big money investors and corporate landlords take over the housing market, driving up prices for everyone else so they can make a quick buck.
That's their priority.
That's right. Si on se retrouve dans cette situation, c'est parce que les libéraux et les conservateurs ont fait le choix d'arrêter de construire des logements abordables. Ils ont choisi de laisser les riches investisseurs s'occuper du marché et faire des gros profits. Et maintenant, à la fois, Justin Trudeau et Pierre Poilievre tentent de blâmer les autres pour leur échec. Ensemble, Justin Trudeau et Pierre Poilievre ont perdu 1 million de logements abordables. 1 million! C'est fou! Ces deux-là font mal à votre portefeuille. And now, high interest rates are slowing down construction, driving up rents, and making mortgages more expensive. Do you know what the main driver of inflation is right now? A 30% increase in mortgage costs. According to the Bank of Canada and Justin Trudeau, raising interest rates is supposed to bring down inflation. That's the whole point of doing it. But now the Bank of Canada is actually causing the inflation they're supposed to fight. Last month, our economy slowed down. And while the bankers at the Bank of Canada may think that's good news, here's what that actually means for families. Fewer jobs, fewer homes they can afford, and less money to buy the things their kids need. Today, the Bank of Canada decided not to raise interest rates, but they're still higher than they've been in the last 20 years. Make no mistake, high interest rates hurt Canadians. And do nothing to stop greedy CEOs from raising prices so they can make more money. It's time to say enough is enough. And it's time for Justin Trudeau, whose government sets the mandate for the Bank of Canada, to clearly give the message that policies that hurt workers and hurt families are wrong. We all know corporate greed is causing inflation, and that's what we need to fight. People get angry when they see how hard it is for them to get by, while others are living better than ever. Justin Trudeau wants you to just ignore the problem by telling you things could be worse. Pierre Poilievre wants to use your anger for his own benefit. When I talk to people who are angry about the cost of living, it makes me want to work harder for them and to make Ottawa work for them instead of the rich and the powerful. Les gens sont fâchés et découragés. Ils font tout ce qu'ils peuvent et ils n'arrivent pas à joindre les deux bouts. Justin Trudeau fait comme si tout va bien. Et Pierre Poilievre veut diviser les gens parce que ça lui sert. Moi, je veux qu'on utilise le pouvoir qu'on a pour faire en sorte que Ottawa travaille pour monsieur, madame, tout le monde, plutôt que pour les autres riches. While you pay more every time you visit a grocery store, CEOs like Galen Weston and Eric Laflèche are doing just fine. Metro grocery store workers successfully went on strike for better wages, and we're proud of that. But the reality is they went on strike because they couldn't afford to shop at the stores where they worked. Think about that. I listened to the stories of those grocery workers on the picket line. They deserve higher wages, better work conditions, more support. Now, big oil and gas CEOs like to tell us that they're hurting, that they need to get out of renewable energy and double down on fossil fuels. This summer, I met with people in Northwest Territories who have lost everything. People who were evacuated to Yellowknife and then had to be evacuated again. They know that the climate crisis is real and it's here. There's no more time to argue over climate change and what causes it. We know what causes the terrible tragedies that are taking away people's homes and their safety. It's fossil fuels, it's burning it, and it's the emissions that they cause. We need to cap emissions of oil and gas producers, and we need to help Canadians prepare for a future that sadly will have more fires and storms. Because when fires and floods hit communities, it's regular people who lose the most. They lose their homes, their jobs, and the lives that they've built. Les gens du Québec ont aussi vécu une horrible saison de feux de forêt cet été. Des coûts immenses pour les gens. La crise climatique, elle est là et elle frappe fort. Et pendant ce temps, Justin Trudeau continue d'investir plus de 30 milliards de dollars dans un oléoduc. Un premier ministre qui continue d'offrir des milliards en subventions aux grandes compagnies pétrolières. Et Pierre Poilievre, lui, agit comme il n'y avait pas de crise climatique. Les Québécois et Québécoises méritent mieux que ça. L'NPD va forcer les libéraux à plafonner les émissions des grands pétrolières. You know, Pierre Poilievre is not who he pretends to be. He actually would make life even harder for working people. When he had the chance to build homes people could afford, he failed. He let 800,000 affordable homes be sold off to rich developers. And under Justin Trudeau, There have been another 200,000 affordable homes lost. If we think about that for a minute, that's 1 million families that could have had an affordable place to live today. Now, we only have to look at Doug Ford to see what conservatives think are the solutions in crisis. Sell public land to rich developers. And that's exactly what Pierre Poilievre has already promised to do. He claims to care about working people, but you'll never see Pierre Poilievre fighting alongside workers for higher wages. You'll never see him at picket lines. You'll never see him supporting workers on strike. He voted against having a minimum wage twice. And he passed laws to make it harder for unions to win better pay for workers.
That's who he is.
He made it hard to get a pension, delaying the retirement age to 67. And he's still working against people, working against working people, getting a decent pension. One of his first ideas after becoming a leader was to cut the Canada Pension Plan. He wanted to give corporations more profits, but reduce pensions for workers. You see, for Pierre, it's all an act. He pretends to care, but he doesn't know how regular people live. He thinks if you live in a normal home, instead of a government-funded mansion like him, it's a shack. Pierre Poilievre has had government-funded dental care for almost all his adult life, but he wants to take it away from kids and their families who are just now able to get their teeth fixed. That's not the kind of respect that working people deserve. Pierre Poilievre doesn't want to help, he just wants power. And he will use that power the same way conservatives have always used their power, to make them richer and to take away every bit of dignity from hardworking Canadians. Pierre Poilievre a beau essayer de se présenter sur un jour meilleur, mais on se rappelle tous ces 9 ans au gouvernement. Coupure d'impôts pour les grandes entreprises et coupure de services pour le reste d'entre nous. Coupure en santé, droits des travailleurs bafoués, scandale éthique, âge de la retraite à 67 ans, 800 000 logements abordables ont disparu. Il a eu sa chance et vous en payez encore le prix. Maintenant, il veut couper dans votre pension et dans l'assurance emploi pour mettre plus d'argent dans les coffres des grandes entreprises. Elle veut couper le programme de soins dentaires alors qu'elle a lui-même une couverture payée par le public depuis 20 ans. Pierre Poilievre va vous coûter cher. We hear a lot about anger these days, and there is a lot to be angry about. But I'm also hearing from people who are just exhausted, like Amber, who was moved to tears telling me about her struggle to find a place to rent. She told me about redoing her monthly budget 6 times and still ending up having to choose between food, gas, or paying the rent. Life should be easier. You shouldn't have to live this way. And New Democrats are working hard every day to deliver for people. Like dental care, hundreds of thousands of families are able to take their kids to the dentist because we forced the government to put dental care in the budget. This summer, I met Brianna in Edmonton. Now, Brianna is a young mom of 5 kids, all under 12. And she told me with the cost of living as high as it is, it's all she can do to just keep a roof over the head of herself and her children and to keep food on the table, and that she's had to make sacrifices. And sadly, one of the sacrifices she's had to make is that she couldn't afford for her kids to see the dentist. So none of her kids were able to see the dentist for their whole child life. But after we forced the government to deliver dental care, every one of 5 kids was able to go to the dentist for the first time. Her youngest are now getting the preventative care they need. And it turns out her eldest had a rare disorder that would have never been caught if he wasn't able to go to the dentist. It's been caught early, and he's going to get the treatment he needs to have a great health outcome. That's who we're fighting. That's who we're fighting for, Brianna, and the thousands of families like hers. And we're going to keep on fighting for dental care for everyone who needs it. Now, Canadians pay some of the highest prescription drug costs in the world. While in the States, President Biden is taking on big pharmaceutical companies and forcing them to lower costs for Canadians. Here in Canada, our own government stopped the work of an independent regulator whose job is to make drugs more affordable. The Liberal government literally took the side of protecting the profits of billionaires instead of protecting you. And that's why force this government to finally bring in legislation that will lay the groundwork for universal public pharmacare. That's going to bring the costs of medication down for everyone. We're also going to make sure this government finally brings in anti-scab legislation. So that the workers have the power to demand better wages. And we're going to use our power to force this government to finally confront the housing crisis. While Justin Trudeau may say it's not his job, and Pierre Poilievre may blame other politicians, we are going to get again. We have to. We absolutely have to. We have to build more homes that people can actually afford, and we have to do it faster. We can do that. We can get that building happening by taking the GST off affordable rental construction. We can save. Yes, we can. And we can save affordable homes from being sold off with a fund to help nonprofits buy apartment buildings, keep them in the community. Recently, I met with a group of renters who were trying to buy their building before it got sold and they got kicked out. They should be supported. They should have a fund they can access. We can use the federal power, the money and the land we have to build affordable homes for people, just like we used to do. Just like we used to do before Liberals and Conservatives stopped building and let private investors with deep pockets take over the housing market. It's time for homes to be a place where families live, raise their families, and make communities, not a quick get-rich program for big investors. Pendant que le Bloc chiale, que Pierre Poilievre dit ses slogans et que Justin Trudeau déçoit, l'NPD travaille pour livrer des résultats. On a remis 1 000 $ dans les poches de 11 millions de personnes. On a permis à de nombreuses familles de recevoir 1 300 $ pour que les enfants puissent se faire soigner les dents. Et on n'a pas fini. Nous nous battons pour que vous payiez moins et obteniez plus. Des loyers moins élevés pour tous, des salaires plus élevés et des meilleures conditions de travail. Des médicaments gratuits. Des factures d'épicerie, de cellulaire et d'Internet moins élevées. Des meilleurs soins de santé. Friends, this is a truly difficult time for many in our country. But our team of New Democrats are here to fight and to deliver results, to put money back in your pocket, to stand up against division and hatred, and to protect you and your family from the climate crisis. This is what we will do every day in Ottawa. Justin Trudeau will delay and disappoint. Pierre Poilievre will blame and complain. But my job, our job, is to get results for you. Thank you. Let's get to work. Merci. Allons-y. Allons-y. Yes. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you. Merci. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Merci, merci. Thanks so much. You in person in the background. Thanks so much, everybody.